This video is sponsored by ExpressVPN, but more on them later. The Theatre of Blood is some of the hardest content in old school RuneScape, and it is extremely fun to speedrun because there's so many different bosses and hundreds, if not thousands, of little intricate moves you can make to save time. But I've personally never speedrun top. Why? Cheat clients. Every single world record TOB in the last 2 years has been set using cheat client plugins. Every single one. JAGEX simply did not care for so long, and so many players were able to get away with using them. To the point that I ran an entire tournament where players speedran bosses using cheat clients, and not a single one of them was banned for using them. But this week, that has all changed. The rule banning clients with overpowered plugins is finally being enforced. Finally. This is incredible news for the game, but terrible news for top speedrunning. Today, I spoke to a previous world record holder about the Theatre of Blood and the plugins that are used, so that we can get an understanding of why the top world record will never be broken. So today, I am speaking to Nakamichi, one of the most prolific TOB speedrunners in the game. Naka, how long have you been speedrunning top?
How long have I been speedrunning top? I first started in let me check. First time I had world record was June 7th, 2019. Yeah, but I'd want to say speedrunning started around February of 2019. But that's just like I wouldn't even call it speedrunning, because back then it was just like efficient rating would just get you the record sort of thing.
So over those 3 years, how many times have you held the world record for the Theatre of Blood?
1414, then 1409. Then the P-necking became a thing and it went to 1351. Then 1337. And there was a couple miscellaneous beats. And then there was 1319, which was the last record before the maiden update hit. From there, we didn't have the record for a while, and then we started speedrunning again and got the first sub 13, which is the 1258, and that's the last time I actually held the record.
Gotcha. So you've held the world record like 7 or 8 times.
Yeah, it's not my first rodeo, mate.
So you've definitely been around the bush. You're obviously an expert on the topic. Is there anyone that is running world record pace TOBs, in your opinion, that isn't using cheat clients?
Not since 2019, no.
Okay, so it's just not possible.
No, just Soat Maze is just too big to compete with. Like, we're talking about the current world record's 1219, and we're estimating like the fastest possible off climb would be about 1230, 1240 with current gear.
Can you run us through, like, room by room, some of the plugins that are used to save that amount of time?
It doesn't sound like they're big time saves, but for Maiden, it's spec counters, which is somehow been allowed onto normal RuneLite.
Now it's on RuneLite. Is it like Socket where you can see other people's specs?
That's literally what it is, yeah. A lot of the time, like, that gains the mages a core, for example. And then there's the crab hit points, which indicates what has an overlay showing what percentage each crab is, which I think is disgustingly broken. And then there's tick counters to show how many ticks until a crab is going to hit the boss. So say it's frozen, it's got a tick counter that shows when it's going to unfreeze and then go into the boss.
Yeah, so those are sort of ones that, like, yeah, they're nice to have, but like wouldn't necessarily be impossible off the client. What are some of the plugins that are guaranteed time saves that wouldn't be possible if you weren't using the overpowered plugins?
It'd just be mainly Nilo and Seg then that are like guaranteed time saves. Yep. Like, you can't speedrun. Like, just Nilo, it's called Socket Entity Hider. It's when somebody else gets the XP drop to kill that crab, you no longer have the ability to attack that crab. Like, you just can't, it just disappears from the screen as soon as somebody else gets that XP drop. The only way you can double up on that crab if you just hit it on the same fucking tick.
Same tick. That is crazy.
Yep. And then there's obviously the tick counter on the Nilo, so you can let a lot of crabs just explode that you wouldn't be able to let explode off client because you don't know how old they are. And then another advantage of that tick counter on the Nilos is knowing what tick some crab's turn so you can know to target them earlier.
I think I saw you tweet the other day saying that your Nilos are a lot slower now. You can't use the client. Like how much slower?
That was a troll.
Oh, okay, okay.
But no, they are probably. We haven't done much raids off client, but I'd want to say like the average wave time alone, that's just till the boss spawns, is about 8 seconds slower, give or take. And then we come along to our good friend Soded Seg, and there's a plugin called C Soded Seg. It's obviously, like when the person's chosen, it shows the path on the outside. But not only does it do that, calculates the most efficient path and puts them all like in numbered squares in order to click them on.
Tells you exactly where to stand.
Yeah, and like that's just broken. I'm pretty sure Cap's got clips of it for you.
I think I also saw in that clip that I'm probably showing in the video right now that there is like a timer on SOAT for when you step off the maze as well.
Oh, yep. The 4-tick cycle. Oh, that's another thing for Nilo on client to guarantee the Nilo room starts as soon as it can. That same 4-tick cycle.
That's the same for like when you step off the SOAT maze, that it makes SOAT attackable instantly, right?
Yep. So that lets you a lot of the time skip like 3 ticks worth of walking because you can just stand on the second last tile where it may path left or right and just jump straight off it and get straight onto Soded Seg.
That 4-tick cycle saves time when you walk into Nilo, starts the waves earlier, so that would save
up to 2.4 seconds, just like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and is that the same for like the rest of the rooms, like Zarpus or?
Zarpus, yes, yeah, it's the same for Zarpus, but it's only Zarpus, SOAT, and Nilo where the 4-tick cycle is actually used for your advantage.
Can you do that off the cheek line or?
Not for Soded Seg or Zarpus, but you can for Nilo. It's a bit awkward though. You like walk a few tiles and it ends up being the correct tick, but no one really does it because you're trading imbued hearts and pot sharing and trading arrows and trading runes and everything in the speed run. So it's not really viable.
So that is like a guaranteed 4.8 seconds saved that you just can't do now.
Each maze, like it's a potential to save that. So that's 4.8 seconds for SOAT potentially saved. But that's not even the biggest part of that SOAT plugin. It's when it's a west start. Obviously, if you're outside and it starts at the west, like you don't have to wait on the bloke calling out all the way west. Like you can just jump straight on it and just get going up it. That's like upwards of a 5-second time save over an East maze.
So I think we've already answered, but like, do you think it's possible with current items in game, like no more power creep to break the world record without the plugins?
Nope, that record was insane as it is. Like they pretty much just got extremely lucky in every room in every single circumstance.
So you think at the current state that record will never be broken now?
I don't even think Rage 3 gear would be enough.
Wow, okay. Because that was going to be my next question. Like even with Rage 3 gear, you don't think that record will be broken?
It depends on how OP this staff ends up being. I haven't really looked into it much. But I don't think the Mezaruri or whatever it's called is going to be used at TOB.
This is something that we've spoke about in the past, but it was sort of like if you wanted to compete for TOB times, you had to use the client just because JAGEX wasn't banning anyone.
Yep.
So obviously you have to use it to compete. Like, would you have much preferred over those 3 years that you were speedrunning that they banned people that use clients so that you didn't have to, or did you like using them?
100%. There's such a big skill level off client as opposed to on client.
Are you gonna keep trying off client once new items come out? Like, will you go for that record again, or?
Honestly, probably not. I haven't really been interested in speed running in months now.
If you had your way, would you rather they reset all the times on the boards now that 100%. They're actually enforcing?
Yeah, because that'd be a great motive to actually speedrun again, like a fresh board wiped of all the clients and stuff. Like, yeah. Because I'd say this is a bigger nerf than blowpipe, and didn't they? Oh no, that they added the PB boards around the blowpipe time.
In the current state of the game, unless there's more power creep with weapons, the world record Theatre of Blood will never be broken. The experts are estimating that the best possible time without the overpowered plugins is going to be around a 12-minute 40, which is 20 seconds slower than the current world record. After so many years of just not caring and allowing people to abuse these overpowered plugins, JAGEX really needs to stand up, take ownership of the fact they fucked up, and reset the world record boards, not just for the Theatre of Blood, but for most bosses in the game that these plugins have affected so massively. Right now, there is 0 points trying to get the Theatre of Blood world record. You will never be able to beat it. If they reset the boards, it will give people motivation to go back there and try and break those world records again. I just want to say a massive thank you to Nakamichi, Kaplunk, and the rest of the AusSpeeds Discord for allowing me to use their footage. And also a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video. Ladies and gentlemen, a big thank you to the sponsor of today's video, ExpressVPN. Today's sponsored segment brought to you from the car because we're going to get Elle's new puppy. And if you don't watch the whole thing, you won't get to see the puppy. ExpressVPN is a virtual private network that helps keep you safe when you're browsing the web. It works by encrypting 100% of your network data and allowing you to change your location online. Guys, not using a VPN when you use the internet is like going to the dog park without a pooper scooper. Most of the time it's going to be fine, but sometimes you're going to get shit on your hands. I literally use ExpressVPN every single day, not only on my PC, but also on my mobile phone. Not only is it going to protect you when you use the internet, it also has other features like being able to unlock shows on Netflix that you can't get in your country. Al, what's your favorite Netflix show that you can't get in Australia?
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. With ExpressVPN, all you have to do is get on there, change your location to the UK, and all of a sudden, you can access Breaking Bad on Netflix. And in honor of today's sponsor, Elle's gonna name her new puppy Express.
Sure.
If you want to find out how you can get 3 months free of ExpressVPN, head to expressvpn.com/EVscape or check out the link in the description below. Thanks again to ExpressVPN for sponsoring today's video.